Alright, what's up everybody? Joseph coming at you. Wanted to do more podcast stuff involving 13 Reasons Why. And you're gonna see me try and get the Sword of Kings in Earthbound. I figured it's a good way to pass the time and try and get the Sword of Kings as well as run my mouth about this shit. I've been talking about 13 Reasons Why quite a bit, and to be real honest, I'm kind of glad it came my way because, really? It's just a regular Starman? That's dumb. Oh wait, no, what the hell? Where's Big League Matt? There it is. Yeah. Heavy thank you. There we go. In many ways, it kind of, revitalized my love for fiction. But it also kind of lit a fire under my ass when it comes to me being a voice for those who have gone through exactly what Hannah has gone through and who have made it. And I'm going to talk about that in this podcast for sure. Or not this podcast, this video. But I'm calling it a podcast, okay? Everyone else can call it whatever the hell they want. We'll call it a discussion. I don't know what else to call it. Okay. So, and allow me to first preface this by saying that I'm not some kind of expert, and I'm not a therapist, I'm not anything like that at all. I'm just a man, and I feel like I'm a man who has a story to tell, and I feel like my story can help others, and that's why I'm doing this that's why I do these kind of videos, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, somewhere out there, there's a girl like Hannah or somebody who is in that position where they don't feel like their lives are worth anything, where they feel like they're worthless, and you know, maybe I could help one of them, you know what I mean? That'd be great. I'd love that. But, and it's also stuff I remind myself, because I deal with the same kind of issues that Hannah was dealing with in 13 Reasons Why quite a bit. So, you know, it's almost like an affirmation, very long drawn out affirmation, right? And that's important for someone like me, because when someone like me gets lost in stuff, in crowds, and in the high school mentality that a lot of us have to deal with, even as grown adults, you know, it's refreshing for someone like me to stand back and say, okay, you know, what's really going on? Why am I feeling this way? What can I do to bring myself back to earth? That kind of stuff. And in high school, you don't really get an opportunity to take those steps back. You don't get an opportunity to back off like that. You have to keep moving forward, and that's kind of what happened. And you have to move forward at a pace that is not determined by you. It's a big difference between how life in high school is and how life is outside of high school. For example, with college, I've been able to take as much time off as I wanted, and yeah, I still have to stress out about being, oh, here's the old motherfucker who's way over 25 but still in school. But I mean, no one really cares about that. I mean, like, and certainly not to the degree that it is in high school, you know what I mean? I mean, in high school, your reputation is who you are, sadly. Don't know if that's the way for guys. It's definitely, yeah. it was certainly like that for me. Definitely when I went to high school. And I'm gonna be going on my Twitch channel and talking about that in great detail in the near future. But I want to talk about 13 Reasons Why. I want to talk about generally what I would do if I was the protagonists in that book / show. Because I think it's important. I think we really need to look at the issues of suicide and stuff like that, and kind of have a view that doesn't victim blame, but also construct a view that doesn't blame the survivors or blame or doesn't impose guilt on others, because imposing guilt on somebody, oh, motherfucker, oh my god, oh come on, man, I'm sorry, I had to react. It was right there. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Because what I've been seeing in a lot of videos about 13 Reasons Why is that you have people say, oh, you know, it didn't address mental illness, or it made people who it made everyone who Hannah made tapes about not jealous, guilty and stuff like that. And those are fair points. Those are fair points. And what we need to do is we need to understand how we get to that. How we get to that point. How we get to that vantage point, and how we can move on from there to a place where, like I said, where the victim isn't blamed, but also the bystanders aren't blamed either. You know what I mean? A world free of blame is one of the most peaceful worlds you'll ever be in. I'm not talking about in general. I'm not talking about from a collective standpoint. I'm talking about from a personal standpoint. I was seeing a whole bunch of therapists in the year 2011, and one of these therapists was roughly my age, maybe a little bit older, a little younger, but he had a really good vision or whatever, and he was like, yo man, like, why blame anybody? Why not just accept it? Why not just defiantly, or what I'm calling now, defiantly accepting and adapting? How come you can't do that? How come, is that not permissible? Do we have to blame somebody for everything now? You know what I mean? And it's a fair point, So I think the controversy surrounding 13 Reasons Why, it's like, oh, we have to place the blame on somebody, No, we don't. I don't think so. I think we need to be cognizant of who we are as either suicidal individuals or individuals who are of sound mind and who avoid those kind of patterns, those kind of thought patterns. You know what I mean? I don't know why I got a red swirl there. What the hell? Well, it was really a waste of their man. They wasted their turns. Not everyone's like me who can just play video games and who can also relate to others and stuff like that. Not everybody has mastered the art of what I call social prosperity. And you see this in Hannah. Because and what I've seen from a lot of the analysis of 13 Reasons Why is you see people going, oh, how come she kept going to the crowds? How come she kept going to the parties and stuff like that? And my answer is that the high school mentality pushes that on you. The high school mentality, like, it produces an environment that says, that tells you that if you're not pursuing social survival, that something is wrong. That you are some sort of misfit or something like that. I've dealt with this personally. I've dealt with this when I was in high school. And for a while I was kind of happy being the misfit, and then I felt the pressure of joining crowds. I felt the pressure of wanting social survival. And that's what happened with Hannah, is that she craved social survival to the point where she would do anything to attain it, even go to parties with, pieces of shit like Bryce, who only see her as, the best ass of the freshman class or whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean? And it's because she was looking to other people to make her happy, and the peer pressure that accompanies the high school mentality makes people see that as just as big a goal as getting good grades, as having good friends and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's really that's what Hannah struggles with throughout the entire book, throughout the entire series. You know what I mean? So people can say that, oh yeah, she got bullied, she got nasty rumors spread about her. All very good points. All very good, plausible, fair points. And what I'm trying to argue is that there's something underneath that. There's an underbelly to that. There's something underneath that people don't understand. And that is the constant peer pressure that, like I said, accompanies an environment like high school. Very much a secondary effect. Very much something that you don't plan. But it's there. And I think that needs to be addressed more than just the observation that Hannah got bullied and Hannah got, bad rumors spread about her. You know what I mean? Because that's going to happen anyways. People are going to do that regardless. That's how they defend themselves. That's how they make themselves feel better about themselves, because we don't have a structure of self-esteem that revolves around the individual. We don't. We have a structure of self-esteem that revolves around social survival. And to me, and I've proven this to myself, and I will prove it I'll try to prove it to others, and I will try and, it's going to be a message that I try to spread to others, is that it's not necessary anymore. You don't need social survival. You need social prosperity, yes. You need to be able to relate to others. That's never going to change. You must be able to relate to others. But you can do it without joining groups. And that's what would have helped Hannah. That's what my article about her is about in my blog, in Keep Climbing Forever. I said that you have to do this. It's on your own. It's your own. It's your mountain. You know what I mean? Life is your mountain, and a high school setting does not allow that kind of thinking to truly develop and to truly mature, unless you either red swirl again. That would have been a green swirl. No. Whatever. So, that's what I would have done if I were Hannah. I would have divorced from the high school mentality. I would have divorced from all those crowds. But it's way easier said than done. Way easier said than done. So, yeah. And also the thing with her is that there were people who wanted to help her but didn't quite know how to do it. Individuals like Clay, individuals like Tony, individuals like even those who did her wrong and tried to make up for it, like what's his name? Even guys like Zach, who they knew that they were doing something stupid, but they didn't know that that was all they knew, or that was something that they were just defending their own self-esteem. You know what I mean? And that's a problem with the high school mentality, is that your self-esteem is like, your self-esteem and your social status and your reputation is constantly on the line. And for someone like Hannah, who takes it so seriously, you know, it's gonna hurt when someone affects the reputation. And you see that a lot. You see that when that hot or not list is made, which to me, yo man, you make that kind of list, there's something fucked up with you, because holy crap, how can you do that? Like, how immature is that? I mean, that happened to me, or that happened in junior high. I do remember in junior high that happening. I was on a hot or not list, but it was like I was like the ugliest. So imagine that, having being like the least attractive. You know what I mean? So then when you ask a girl out, oh, aren't you? Oh, you're Joel. Oh, you're on the least attractive list. Ew. You know what I mean? But to me, thankfully, that ended in junior high. You know what I mean? The same with the rumors and stuff like that. And everything just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed because Hannah kept going to these groups, and the reason why she did that is because that's what the high school mentality dictates from somebody, whether it's intentional or not. It just does. So I think that needs to be more addressed than anything else. And what happens, and what Hannah does or doesn't do to address what she's going through are things that thankfully I did. Because I divorced from the crowds in my high school, and whenever I tried to join them, that was what made me, you know, a suicidal individual. You know, because I wasn't led into the groups, because I was an outcast. And I didn't have that fear of being an outcast, I had a fear of being an outcast past high school. And for me, I viewed high school as like, oh yeah, you have this time limit, here's 4 years, you have 4 years to have as much fun as you can, and then shit gets real, you know what I mean? Completely untrue, by the way, but that's just how it is. Also, the thing with Hannah is also sometimes that kind of thing. Sometimes there's no explanation. You know what I mean? And what I got from watching the show and then later reading the book is that I got a vibe of if anyone remembers Lemony Snicket, a series of unfortunate events. That's kind of what happens to Hannah. You know what I mean? It's just she she gets introduced to this girl, and then this girl, they meet this boy, same boy who makes the hot or not list. And then they fight over a boy. Then some other dude gets a hold of the hot or not list and then treats Hannah like a sexual object. You know what I mean? And then the rumor gets spread about her, and then she breaks away from it and writes poetry, but then someone steals her poetry and publishes it. I mean, it's just, and let's be honest, how realistic is that? Is that the most realistic thing? I'm not downplaying what happened. You know what I mean? I'm not downplaying what happens in the book or in anything like that. But can things really take a turn that quickly? Now, in the book, these things happen over the course of 2 years, from freshman year to junior year. And to me, that's even less realistic because one bad rumor about somebody, at least in my high school experience, easily gets outstripped by another rumor about someone else within a matter of weeks, to where you will not remember what that original rumor. I mean, at least that's how it was with gossip in my high school. Maybe it's different in others. I don't know. Alright, so let me talk about Clay now. Okay? While I try to get this goddamn Sword of Kings. God. Give me the damn sword, you bastards. I don't want to level too much because then it makes the rest of the game boring. So Clay's a guy who, strangely enough, he works with Hannah. Doesn't talk to her much. I don't know about any of you, but and in the show, it shows them working together a lot, and they have conversations at their job a lot. And to me, you know, I could have seen several tip-offs there. So either Clay was just really naive to it all, or he didn't care, or he, like what Hannah said, didn't care enough. And I want to explore that, what Hannah says. So she says, a lot of you cared, just not enough. And then she says, I didn't care enough either. We need to unwrap that. We need to unwrap this. Because to care enough doesn't mean you have to micromanage all of your actions and all of your words to everybody. It just means you need to be 100% supportive of anybody in your circle who you care about. That's almost a promise that I make to pretty much everyone I know who have known for a long time, or anybody who is, you know, the least bit important to me. You know, I'll say, usually non-verbally, that, you know, I'm on their team, you know what I mean? That I'm on their team and I don't want anything bad to happen to them because it would really suck if I lost them, you know what I mean? And again, the high school mentality doesn't really allow this kind of thinking. It does, and it kind of gets preached, but when you add the peer pressure of being popular, being well-liked, being having a good reputation and having a good social status in the school. That thinking where you need to be, decisive about the people who you are close to and the people who you are responsible for kind of gets shoved under the rug. You know what I mean? That happens with Clay. Because Clay cares about Hannah, but doesn't care enough about Hannah. You know what I mean? Or at least doesn't understand that he could have done more, way more, to at least attempt to save her. I mean, and I think he was a victim of misunderstandings more than anybody, because there's a scene where Clay makes moves on Hannah at a party, and Hannah freaks out and tells Clay to leave, and so Clay leaves. And then Hannah says, "You listen. Why the hell did you listen?" That, to me, that's a misunderstanding, right? And my deal with misunderstandings is that if you're not breaking the law, then you need to hash everything out. I mean, if I were Clay in that situation, I would have said to Hannah, I would have been like, "I'm not gonna leave. I know you're freaking out right now, but I want to know what I can do to make you feel better right now. If you need to call the authorities, call the authorities. I don't care. I just want you to not be so distressed, because that makes me feel like shit to see you distressed." That's exactly what I would have said, and I would have just stood there. Because what was she gonna do? What's a girl gonna do to you, man? What's she gonna beat you up? What's she gonna shoot you? What's she gonna do? Call the police? Okay, cool. Alright, then she calls the authorities, and all of a sudden you have the authorities and they'll solve the problem. That's what I would do if I was Clay in that situation, and if I really cared about Hannah that much. But he didn't do that. And the reason why he didn't do that is because he didn't have those kind of convictions. He wasn't decisive enough. And that's a big problem in high schools. That's a big problem in high school where and the reason why you aren't able to develop those kind of decision-making abilities is because you keep getting pulled in a different direction. You know what I mean? Oh, if you help the girl, you're weak. If you're supportive without this, then if you're supportive and you have expectations behind it, then you're a bad person. What else? Why would you help out? Why would you help someone who's not popular? Why would you help a freak? You know what I mean? That's gonna be a theme in my sequel. Is that it's about Bryce, who goes from really popular to being a freak, and then he helps other freaks, and then he goes, maybe I should have done this all along, and things would have been way better. Again, talking about all the misunderstandings that you see in 13 Reasons Why, and in the high school environment in general. Alright, yeah, so to conclude this final analysis of 13 Reasons Why is that if you feel like Hannah, and you feel like you have no worth to this world, one thing I did, I always have done, and that's why I'm a big individualist, objectivist fan, is that you have to create your own worth. You have to do. There's a song lyric from an obscure hip hop band called Us Three. I don't know if anyone remembers them, they made a song called Cantaloupe. And it was a big hit in the mid-90s. Not a big hit, but it was on the radio. It got a lot of attention. And so this hip-hop group had another song called Make Tracks. And one line in that song is, be your own ruler of your own type of land. And to me, you know, that is such an empowering song lyric. You know, be your own ruler of your own type of land. That to me is just like, you know, it doesn't get any better than that, man. It really doesn't. There's another band called Pennywise. I'm sure everyone's heard of Pennywise, or not really. I don't think everybody, but you know, they're a pop punk metal band, and I describe them in my blog post about Hannah. They're the type of band who they'll kick your ass, they'll help you up, and then they'll give you a tight hug, and they won't let go. So, and strangely enough, you don't see Hannah do any of that. You don't see Hannah listening to music and jamming out. You don't see her going to the gym and lifting weights or running or something like that. I mean, what happens in Forrest Gump when Forrest Gump just gets really depressed about, finding out about Jenny and shit? He runs across the entire country, and it becomes this phenomenon. You know what I mean? He's like, I ran, and I just ran. And then all of a sudden, everybody runs with him because it's like, well, holy shit, man. So it's creative stuff like that you gotta do on your own. That if you are like Hannah, you have to seek that kind of stuff out. And you have to seek stuff out, and you have to find one or two people who will be on your team no matter what. And I'm not gonna lie, Hannah had two people like that. She had Kat, who was that friend who moved away, but you can still contact them and still maintain a friendship with them, which is what she should have done for sure. And Clay, she could have just been like, and here's a guy who she worked with, you know what I mean? Here's a guy who, no preconceived notions, doesn't follow any crowds, perfectly cool to hang around with without, any stupid rumors, being spread. And she could have just divorced from all of that with Clay. And I have a theory that I think Hannah knew this, but like her criticism of people who helped her but not enough, I think she didn't help herself enough. You know what I mean? And to me, that's the real tragedy of anybody who ends their own life, is that they do something equally selfish and equally it's like, and I understand the observation that someone who ends their own life is selfish, or that they do it for attention or something like that. But I think it's just when the negative thought patterns and when the negative emotions take over, they become a form of your intellect. And that happens with anybody who decides to take their own life, and then they become obsessed with it. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to me in my last year of high school. Specifically in the middle of it, before the break. In fact, I'll read I have my journal out here. I don't know why I keep these, but I do. I used it in my blog post. And man, it was a roller coaster, but holy shit. I mean, I'll read an excerpt. I'll read from, this was a day before, this was like a week before, it was a week before, and I've told this story before. It was a week before, I asked out this cheerleader who I had a big crush on, and, like, I literally had a crush on her since fucking freshman year, and I hadn't had the balls to fucking ask her out at all. And when I finally did, she, like, got me framed for harassment. I was hanging around her like a lost puppy, but, I mean, I guess that was enough for her to, you know, completely almost ruin my life, you know what I mean? And, you know, I understand, you know, if you have, I mean, I guess if you have, we live in an age where if you have a weak game, if you're a man with weak game, or if you make really stupid decisions, then you're gonna get punished for it. So I understood that part, but I understood that part now. I didn't understand it back then. So here's what happens. Here's what I write about it. I'd like to see a day before, yeah, or a day after that happens, alright? And I quote, "I'm totally confused now. I've been shaken and hurt so much, I can't even begin to recover. It's getting so bad that I'm obligated to get counseling every day if necessary," which is exactly what happened. What's worse, I have a criminal record. I wasn't convicted of anything. I was just panicking. And then I said I had to lie about my age just to prevent being arrested. That actually was a thing. They were gonna get me arrested for harassment. So I said, or I remember like, I don't know, I remember saying I was 17 instead of 18 or something like that. Anyway, it goes on. I say, "I'm scared now. I really don't know what's gonna happen now. And I'm confused too. I'm so disturbed I don't want to talk to anybody right now." Even, there's a teacher who I was talking to about it. And I said, even she's my enemy. And I said, the real scary thing is that I don't know when it's ever gonna end. So, you know, been there. And I broke out of it just by doing me. You know what I mean? And that was my final attempt to join, you know, the cool crowd in high school. And, you know, I mean, I remember seeing my childhood friend Dan about it. And, he said, "Man, you know, maybe you're just supposed to be an outcast, you know?" And, I remember saying, I'm like, "Man, you know, you're right, but it feels like something was taken." It really does. It felt like something was taken from me when that happened. You know, I felt like something was like, I felt like my sense of belonging was like taken from me for good. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happens when Hannah gets assaulted in 13 Reasons Why. Is that gives her all the resolve to end her life. You know what I mean? And you know, I mean, and 2 years before that happened, before I made that journal entry, roughly 2 years before, I was also I was assaulted as well, sexually assaulted, and that to me was so. That to me shocked me to the point where I couldn't even talk about it for 5 years after. Roughly 5 years after, probably a little more, and that held me back. Me being brutally rejected held me back. You know, so these things happen to people, and what 13 Reasons Why, what you should really get out of it is that, you know, if you're gonna be cruel, then, you know, be cruel, but there's gonna be consequences for it, so prepare for the consequences. If you're gonna be cruel, do it to the right people. Do it to the people who, do it to people who you know are gonna take it as a joke. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. There's a big difference between antagonizing and like legitimate bullying and just making fun and dicking around. I mean, when me and my buddies make fun of each other, there's no malice behind it, you know what I mean? It's very lighthearted. Whenever I make fun of people, even total strangers, you know, there's no malice behind it, you know what I mean? There's nothing like, I don't mean to antagonize, you know what I mean? And that was a bad habit I had in high school, I'm not gonna lie. And I'll talk about this a lot more in my stream tomorrow about it. But yeah, like I used to like almost have a hobby of antagonizing, trolling people and stuff like that. You know, I did that, you know what I mean? But what I also did was, to those who I cared about, you know, I was on their team. Like, I was on their team, very, very loyal, you know? So, and to those of you who are on your team, and I'll make a blog post as well as a video about that as well, because your team should be relatively small compared to what other people will say, you know what I mean? So if anyone's on your team, even slightly, even remotely, you know, it's your job to be on to make sure that they're not going to do anything stupid. You know what I mean? And I know that in the book Clay misses that a lot. And it's like I said, and I keep on going over this. I keep on saying this. But that's because the pressures of high school didn't allow him to create a team to create a circle where, a very close-knit circle, you know what I mean? Where everyone's there for each other no matter what you want to do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? I was very, very lucky to have that. I'm very, very lucky to currently have that. There's people I kind of talk to, whatever, but, you know, I can count on both my hands, you know, the number of people who, you know, they can text me at like 3 in the morning, and I'll either be asleep or at work, and I'll be like, yo, what's up, you okay? That kind of stuff. That's the kind of person you should be for people who you are responsible for people who are on your team. You know what I mean? Alright. Well, running my mouth for 45 minutes. I haven't gotten the goddamn Sword of Kings. But that's all I had to say about this subject. Tune in, my Twitch channel. Well, I guess it's the 28th, so yeah, so at about 6 p.m. I will talk more about my high school experience and how it pertains to 13 Reasons Why. So this is like the penultimate analysis of 13 Reasons Why. Check out the blog posts. They are in the description. If you want a deeper insight of me being assaulted, there's a video on my channel, you can search for it, called 15 Years Later. In fact, I'm going to go back to that video and edit it now. I'm going to type out my monologue that I have for it. And, you know, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people who are on your team. It's important. Alright. I will catch you all later. Alright. Yeah. Alright. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.